Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non binary friends, and welcome to this brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. Well, it is indeed a brand new day. I have some things written down that I'm going to talk about. I had therapy today after 3 weeks without. My therapist was on vacation in Sweden because his wife is Swedish, and his children are keeping their dual citizenship so that when things get bad enough here in the U.S., they can bounce without an issue. But he came back, had therapy, good stuff. Now, there's some stuff I want to talk about, and one of them I wrote a post about, and I talked about with my therapist, and I'm going to lead off with this one. There was, I don't know if there still is, a band called Union of Knives. I believe they were like Scottish or British, some non-American version. And they had a series of songs that they, working with professional filmographers, made a video for and had it as Union of Knives, the Cut Up Suite. Because when it originally came out, it played on a player where the video and the actual song didn't loop up in sync. It could play with the beginning of the song toward the end of the video, anywhere like that. So it was a very sort of interactive experience that way. Now all you have is the one type, one shot all the way through. But the thing is, I had forgotten about them until at a random thing I saw Union of Knives Cut Up Suite on YouTube yesterday. The one video was posted 17 years ago. My wife was still alive. We were living in an apartment in Olympia after she'd spent a year in a adult family home because of open heart surgery. 2008. And I felt this massive burst of existential terror, knowing that I was going to die. Now, not right then, but my mortality. That time keeps going, the clock is ticking, and there's not much time left on my clock. Now, the thing is, I know all this. And I've looked at media that, like, I've listened to 40, 50 years ago and not had that existential terror. I know what is going to happen at the end of life. I've worked in healthcare. I worked in a nursing home as a nurse's aide. I have personally cleaned up over 200 human corpses after people died of old age. I am under no illusions of what is going to happen when this mortal frame stops working. And I know that that black wall of oblivion is getting closer and closer all the time. But I don't have bursts of existential terror about all that. They sneak in when I'm not ready for it and just, boom, gotcha. Now, hopefully I may have a link somewhere to Union of Knives Cut Up Suite. It's not from the official things. It's, people that have uploaded them, but like 17 years ago. And the thing is, it's another one of these, I think good music should be given the opportunity to be listened to and not just fade away and vanish. That's why I think songs from the 40s and 50s should still be preserved and kept alive in culture. That's why I think stuff from the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, and the 90s, the 2000s, the time I listened to music big time was mid-70s to almost the 1990s. Then I drifted out of listening actively and harshly, really getting into it. And that's my era. But I think stuff from the 60s and the 50s and the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s, stuff that even I don't listen to, needs to be preserved so people have a chance to listen to it. Union of Knives, the Cut Up Suite, 3 songs from their album Violence and Birdsong. Like I said, hopefully I'll have a link to it, but it is good stuff and deserves to be given the chance to be listened to. Because after all, evil has never loved you like I do. Now let's see, what else do I have up here? Oh yes, ADHD issues and being overwhelmed by choice. Also, games in my ADHD method. I'm going to talk about this one first because I have talked about how I was really getting into and playing the game Two Worlds again. And I have been running around all around the southern continent, just ignoring the quests and beating up everything that I come across. The deeper I get into games, the closer I get to the end, the less and less I play it. Until eventually, I've stopped. I have finished so few games in my life because of this, where I get closer and closer, and then just the race ends. Part of it, I am quite sure, is because of, with my ADHD and my horrific ADHD brain and memory, I forget things so quickly. So if I don't play something all the time, I am going to forget details. And if I forget details, I'm not going to be able to play the game because I'm going to forget the quests and what I'm doing. But part of it, too, is I enjoy the games that I play. And if I stop playing a game with my ADHD brain, I'm going to forget everything except the broad strokes. I still, even after playing games to death, like Fallout New Vegas, like Grim Dawn, I still am broadsided by the minor details because I only remember the broad stroke, and then the actual detail of what's happening inside that broad stroke, gone. So every time I come back to one of these games, they're fresh and new, and I can re-experience it. Never the same way as when I first did. I always remember the broad strokes, but enough that, well, now I can play it again. Problem with that being, there's always more new games to play, and I am engaging, even at 62 and a half, in seeking behavior. I don't know what I'm looking for. The games that I'm looking for are close to it. But I am seeking an experience that these games are almost providing me with. Which ties back to being overwhelmed by choice. Again, I've mentioned that I have Steam and like 3,000 plus games on Steam. GOG, 700 games there on GOG. I've got a few scatterings on Electronic Arts and smaller little things like that. I forget. I don't even know if they have things like Green Man Gaming anymore. But point being, I've got all of that, but I've got only this much of a window of things that I can concentrate on, and my list is like this big. So I'm drifting through, and things are constantly dropping off the list and being added to it. Which, going on to the physical stuff again, I still desperately want to learn and play Ironsworn, but it is a 270-page book that is dense and filled with information. That's a lot of spoons. Then, of course, there's the basic role-playing game. I don't have the cover for it. I don't know what I did with it. Of Scarlet Heroes. A good RPG, OSR. I want to play that. Well, there's this simple little adventure thing where you go through areas and you beat up things and you try to get your quests. That seems fun. Well, but I need to really get into playing this, but I've also got the 2 Horrified games as well, so that's 3 board games that I want to do. But then I've also got these over here next to me, these Dungeon Runner decks along with Solo Venture. My window is only this big, but my list is this big. And when I add it to my video game stuff that I want to do, my list is this big. And my window is this big. And it's always moving. I don't know why I'll suddenly lose air like that. It's because I'm an organic human being. And it's always moving. So the big list is always having something be ignored. And the small list is always changing because the window is moving. But then I'm not the only one that gets stuck with, oh God, I forgot what it's called. But when you're overwhelmed by choice, there is an actual term for it, something indecision, like choice indecision. But I'm not the only person. It is an actual struggle in business to provide you, the customer, with enough choices on something that you want to engage with it. But also not so many choices that when you do engage with it, you get overwhelmed. So, thumbs up on that. What else do I have on my list over here? I did actually sleep last night. Mostly. And that's good. I got about at least 4 hours of sleep, hopefully more. But I lay in bed until 7:30ish, then had to get up. I mean, I have therapy today, so I was up and moving early. And I don't know that that's going to stay the way it did forever, because I took my melatonin early. But I also went over to the local pot shop and I bought a 6-ounce soda that had 100 milligrams of THC in it. And on my way back, I took a leisurely trip and just drank my soda. Disposed of the can properly. Always be... I was always going to say always be not a litter bug, but that's stupid. Always throw your stuff away properly. Don't be a litter bug. Our world is a mess enough as it is. So I disposed of my can properly. But I actually slept. Now, I always look tired when I wake up after having used THC to sleep, but I always feel refreshed, so I don't know what that deal is. But that is all the stuff on my list. I don't have anything else really going on because I have been struggling with insomnia so much. I have barely been able to do any work on my creative stuff. I have one thing been thinking of, because I like language and the way language works, but I can't get too deep into it because, again, ADHD brain. So, as I've come up with my own alphabet and pronunciation thing for my cosmic horrors, also I've decided that the way things are pronounced on the world of Shensha, with the continent of Karthkog, where the Orkani, Habani, and Apani are, with the characters of Danthel and Connor, because they pronounce things differently as we would. The name Danthel, I pronounce Danthel because I'm an English speaker, but in the language of their people, it would be closer to Dontiel. And Connor is closer to Canar. But I'm going to Latinize them and pronounce them Danthel and Connor because it's easier for me as an English speaker, even though that's not really their names. But then, as an English speaker, I speak of the city of Munich. When you go over to Deutschland, it's München. We Latinize things. We move things from, well, you can't Latinize something that's already been Latinized, but since the German is a Romance language as well. But point being is we translate things. Like, we call it Cologne, and it's Köln. So, same thing. As well as minor pronunciation things I've said before. There's the Habani town of Tuathic. That's largely pronounced Tuathic, I think. But the adventures that I'm doing with my solo RPG stuff takes place in the Apani named settlement down in the Agranic forest, but the settlement is Nagrat. Now, when you look at that, it's Nagrat, but it's not pronounced Nagrat or Nagrat or anything like that. It's short, choppy, quick. Nagrat. That's the way the Apani pronounce these things. It's like over in Paris, if you're taking the underground there, which they don't call the underground, but as we were stressed when I was a tourist, if you're going to ask someone where various lines are, you don't ask for the Bobigny line. Nobody's going to know what you're talking about with the Bobigny line. But if you ask for the Bobigny, and I can't even put the accents on it properly now, then yeah, then you're talking properly. Same thing. Nagrat. Thumbs up. Anyway, though, if you can like, comment, share, subscribe, that would be very cool, extra wonderful. Definitely a thumbs up and proving you are an awesome person. That would be very cool. I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. You are beautiful and awesome people. Thumbs up and thank you. I like eating to the end of the month and a little bit every day, and you help me do that. Thank you so very much. For everybody that leaves me a comment, thumbs up and thank you. It is appreciated. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up every comment that YouTube lets me, and if I can't, I give it a heart. I answer as many as my nerve compression will let me, which isn't as many as I would like, but it's as many as I can do. It can take me up to 24 hours to answer a comment, so keep checking in, but I do my very best. And I try to answer as many as I can so that you know you are being heard. Thumbs up for that. And hey, speaking of being heard, I play an internet game of calling out a secret word and listening to hear if it's called back by asking that word to be typed into the comment section for blatant engagement farming. And also, it is nice to be heard. So, thumbs up. The people that last played were Jesse Koskinen. Thumbs up and thank you as always. Heat is awful and hopefully it'll cool off even more where you are. I am on the net. Thumbs up and thank you. I forgot to do this. I can't even thank anyone. I'm an idiot. I am not an idiot. I just forgot to do that part. So, Jesse Koskinen, I did see your name, so thumbs up, and I am on the net. I hope you're there. I'm going to have to make this list twice as big tomorrow. But if you have watched this far, for tomorrow, if you could type alien into the comment section for blatant engagement farming, and I'm a listening. Now, of course, it is not a requirement that you play. Even if I had the power to force people to do so, I would not do so. Consent is important even in something as small and silly as this. But if you do choose to play, thumbs up and thank you. It is appreciated so very, very much. So thumbs up, and I can't put it anymore to this side or I'm going to bonk it off. So hopefully I didn't leave too much off to the side there. I got a text file covering a third of my camera program there. Anyway though, thumbs up. So I am going to edit, render, upload. I'm going to take care of myself as best I can today. Try to make sure this doesn't hurt, because I do pretty good all the way during the day. But, this is just murder at night before I'm going to bed. So I'm going to try and take even more care today. And hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done, because that would be good. But if not, please do not beat yourself up, because you deserve better. Now I'm burping. But past that, I was going to lead into my next thing, but I couldn't because my brain stopped working. So I'll do this instead. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. I'm going to use this side, because this side doesn't give me tingles. Bad tingles when I do it, whereas the other side does, which is so weird. This is the side causing me so much trouble right now. This side is not. This side is so much worse. The bone is growing and squeezing the nerves a lot worse on this side. But this side works like 90% of the time. And this side, which is not as damaged as the other, I have so many issues with it. Thumbs up for that. Anyway, clickety clickety here, so I can go clickety clickety here.